Good evening, Britain. Tonight, we're talking about why the UK needs Donald Trump's vision and not Keir Starmer's limp wristed, weak leadership. From scrapping so called windmills to fracking, frack baby frack, for energy independence, to cutting taxes to boost economic growth, to securing our borders so we don't have 600 people, illegal migrants, coming over the channel as they have done today. And then in this country, proper law and order so the farce of the Manchester airport attackers never happens again. We need to end the chaos in UK politics, which means we need to have people with real business experience in all the political parties, not just in reform. The political establishment has led us to this position. Our country is in chaos. Earlier today, when the airports couldn't land the planes, I thought, oh, here we go. Now we've been hacked. It wasn't that, thank goodness. But what a state we're in. And Trump proved that 2 days ago when he lectured, when he schooled Starmer. Starmer hasn't got a clue. Today, did you hear that screech of the brakes? He's just had to do another U-turn because of people like me who told him he was a pillock, because he was going to give Hamas the victory without insisting they have to release all the hostages first. Now, like the lily-livered, spineless amoeba that he is, the relatives, rightly so in my opinion, of the hostages have complained, so now he's doing a U-turn. So he does the big, pompous, pious, holier-than-thou press conference last night, which nobody in the country agreed with. Yes, we want to stop the starvation. Yes, we want to help out. But we have to remember there's a Hamas propaganda machine at work. And now he's had to do a U-turn. He never works out his policies. For a lawyer, he's crap because he doesn't actually think it through. We had the other guy, forgotten his name now, who basically accused Farage of being a paedophile sympathizer, which was clearly Starmer's doing. It was clearly their idea. And yesterday they thought they'd got two trump cards. Trump card number one was the paedophile accusation, which is just garbage. And the second, or supporting of paedophiles, and the second, of course, was this deal with Hamas, not the Palestinian Authority, with Hamas, which, as I said at the time, he clearly hasn't had a chat with Donald Trump and cleared it with him. So he went on that. Then they asked Donald on the aeroplane, and he said, I don't know anything about it, basically. Nothing to do with me. And it's another example. Like the coalition of the useless, they can't do anything. Starmer can't do anything. Nor France with Palestine without the help of the USA. And I'm telling you, there's no way that President Trump is going to allow that. So it's gesture politics. It's bullshit again. It's like, stop the boats, smash the boats. You couldn't even smash an avocado. You are a joke. And it's about time we decided we need somebody better than you. And I'm saying I would prefer Trump's way of running the country. What do you say? We've got to end the chaos in the UK. This is a no-holds-barred live political debate. If you care about the future of the United Kingdom, the future of Britain, if you're interested in Trump, UK, Starmer, where our country is heading, you're in the right place. Let's get started. You can see what the agenda is. Let's get talking. Put your comments in now. And if you haven't listened to the extra podcast I did for you today, please do. I interviewed a guy called Lance Foreman this afternoon. I've put it up. It's incredible. He's a Jewish businessman. immensely successful. And he basically echoed what Trump said. And ever since I spoke to him today, my whole thought process has been, we've got to sort the country out. And then I heard about the Manchester airport attackers. Our justice system is a joke. We've got a prime minister who is a joke, who can't even deliver, forget about a pizza, he can't even deliver a speech without looking at his notes. And then he forgets the most important thing. You can't say to terrorists, we're going to give in to you, but you don't have to do anything in return. They just take the piss out of you. And that's what's happening. It's an absolute disaster. So now he's messing up on the international stage, as well as the social, local, domestic stage. The man is a fool. Do you agree with me? We've had 8 likes so far, so smash the like button if you could. And please restream this so other people know we're on. Let me just say, Dark Angel says, evening, John. And then Craig is trying his look, says, hi, Dark Angel. It's not a dating site. It's not a dating site. How many times? So then he says, John, I totally agree with you about all that. Well, now you're back in your good books. But you must have a listen to the podcast recorded this afternoon. It's got tremendous numbers already. I just put it up. I was going to leave it till tomorrow. But then the things he was saying about Trump, the things he was saying about Starmer, he was saying about lots of his Jewish friends are leaving London, leaving England, because they no longer feel safe because of the terrorist scum and the people who support them in London. Yeah, really, really interesting. And then he was talking about how you can get the economy going by cutting taxation. He knows what he's talking about because he's a businessman. Have a listen to it or watch it as soon as this one has finished. If you'd like to help me out, you know what you need to do. Just click the little dollar sign and send me some cash, or alternatively, www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. And I'll read out some of the names of people who've helped me already today. Brucey, John Roberts, Angela DeMucco, Graham Bagley, and John Godley. Thank you. That was either last night or today. Do you want to get on the roll of honor? Just donate some cash to keep these podcasts going. I told you I'd expand them. I told you I'd give you more product, and I am. And tomorrow, don't forget, I'm interviewing in the daytime your man that you've all been asking me to interview, Ben. So he's going to be sorted out tomorrow, and we'll find out more about Nigel Farage. Here's the understatement of the night. Dark Angel says the country is in a bad state. I think it's a little bit worse than that, Dark Angel, but thank you for your comment. Right, let's get started. I say that we need Trump's vision. When he was telling Starmer how to win an election, didn't you feel it was like, you know, when you go, I don't know if you've done this at work, they send you off on a training course and you're there for the first morning, you think, oh, I know all about this. I don't need to know any of this. But then what it actually does, it kind of refreshes your mind and kicks you out of a few bad habits and makes you think, oh, yeah, that's how I should channel my energy. Well, I think that's what his little speech to Starmer did. And I think a lot of people, and I know people who are not Trump supporters, they're not even necessarily a right of centre, but they've been impressed by what he said, because all sensible people know that the nonsense we've got now cannot continue. These demonstrations where people hate our country, but we allow them to stay, where we've got people who actually are taking our benefits, but hate us. It's just got to stop. And it all comes down in a way, not just to Starmer, but the rest of that political establishment and their weak leadership. They don't feel proud to be British or English. Why not? Why not? Look at the women's football team, how proud they are now to be English, and they're a never say die attitude. Our men's team just need that, just on one level. How come Gareth Southgate, you can comment on this if you want, got knighted for being a miserable failure? Yeah. Didn't win anything, whichever way you look at it. But we're not even going to knight the woman's manager and the captain and the goal scorer. I'd be handing out the gongs as if they were going out of fashion. Are you with me, or are you against me? So in simple terms, the questions I'm asking tonight on the John Gaunt podcast is this: is Donald Trump's vision better for Britain than Keir Starmer's and Labour? I think Trump's policies would actually work here as they do in the States, and they would work better for the UK and the people. And I'm saying Starmer hasn't even got a direction of travel. He just keeps changing his mind, doesn't he? Or doing U-turns. He's the worst leader we've ever had, and the polls back me up on this. I don't mean the polls as in the Polish. I mean the voting polls. So let's go through a few of those things that Donald Trump says we need to do. He says you've got to scrap the obsession with so-called windmills, as he calls them. He's right. The windmills, he means the wind farms, which have scarred all of our countryside and are actually expensive to run, don't work when the wind isn't running, and often are still fueled by coal electricity. It's just nonsense. Look, I'm green in the sense of I want to recycle, I want to save the planet and all of that stuff. But Lance Foreman, who I interviewed today in that other podcast that I'm asking you to make sure you check out at the end of this one, he made the point there's so much coal and shale gas underneath our feet. He says, and I'm going to look this up, he says we could pay off our budget deficit with that. But no, we've all got to listen to Bernie Winters of politics, Ed Miliband, who's gone green crazy. Despite the fact all the major motor manufacturers are saying there's no way we can just have electric cars by 2030. It's cobblers. It's bollocks. We're not going to do it. And also, we're holding ourselves back. Meanwhile, China and India, they're building coal power stations left, right, and centre. They're building more roads. They're building more motorways. They can actually build a railway. We couldn't even deliver HS2. Again, not just Starmer, the whole political class. So we've got to drop the obsession with windmills. We, at the moment, still need fossil fuels, don't we? It's obvious. Like Howard Cox, the guy on my other podcast interview, said from the Fair Fuel Brigade, he says he's in love with fossil fuels. And I can see where he's coming from, because at the moment, we can't just rely on battery-powered cars. We can't rely. And do we want to end up like Spain, where they had a blackout for 2 days? No. So we've got to say they're laudable things to head for, but it can't be done overnight. Are you with me or against me? I'm coming to your comments soon. This is what we need to talk about this evening, because the politicians are all singing off the same hymn sheet. The best example, we've got to secure our borders. We've got to have real immigration control. Let me state again, I am not against immigration, and with the birth rate as it is, we'll need immigrants. But we, being the greatest country in the world, we want to choose who we got coming in. We're not going to let people get in a rubber dinghy in France, helped, aided and abetted by Macron's useless police force, and come across the channel. Today, every bloody lifeboat in the country, it seemed, was helping and saving these people, which is what we want. We don't want them to die, but it's unsustainable. According to GB News today, at least 600 today illegal immigrants have got into Britain. Well, when I say they've got in, they've been apprehended, but that doesn't mean they're not going to stay, does it? They are. Likewise, why should our women folk, our daughters, our mums, our sisters, our wives be worried about walking home, especially as winter will come on in the next month or so, and as the clocks go, do they go backwards? Yeah, the clocks go backwards. It's going to get dark in the mornings and the evenings. There's too many of these people, idle hands. You know what it means. Doesn't mean everyone's a rapist, everyone's a sex attacker. But until Keir Starmer can tell me, oh, you see those 80, because of course Yvette Cooper said, anybody who brings in more than 80 in a boat, we're going to prosecute them. Oh, yeah. How are you going to do that then? But anyway, leave that idiot. She's another total brain-missing minister, just not got a clue. Until Keir Starmer can say, yeah, there's 80 people in that boat. I know where every one of them comes from. I know their names. I know all about them. I know their medical records. And I also know none of them have been committed for any crime. But he can't. He couldn't even do it. He couldn't even get me 2 or 3, could he, out of 80? So he's playing Russian roulette, I keep saying this, with your safety, our children's safety. I've had enough of it. I have had enough of it. And then the cheeky bastards, they get a bike to pay the people, so-called people smugglers. They're not people smugglers. They're offering a service which people are willing to pay because these people are not fleeing persecution. Out of those 80 in the boat, if there's 2 doing that, I'd be amazed. And of course, we should give them asylum if they can prove it. But if they're throwing away their passports, tough shit, you ain't coming in. It's got to be like Donald Trump. Donald Trump has taken the illegal immigration to almost 0. He's only been in power 6 or 7 months. How's he done it? By being hard. Some people say by being a fascist. No, just by putting the American people first. Why can't we have politicians who put us first? How ridiculous is it? There's a gym today, again, it was on GB News, and I think in the Express, where the illegal immigrants are getting free use of the gym. Residents are paying 58 quid a month if they want to use it. Hold on a minute. Have they paid in? No. It's the same. We should give them the NHS. We should give them dental care. But do we need to give them free driving lessons? Do we need to give them wigs? No. I say no. And do they need 5-star, 4-star hotels with squeezy soap? Did you see when Keir Starmer lied to the president of the free world when he said outside that golf club, he said, oh, yeah, we're getting on top of that. We sent 30,000 people back last week. What he didn't say was, out of that 30,000, the vast majority of them were people who wanted to go back. They weren't the boat people. I want him to be able to say, we had, like today, we've had 600 people arrive in boats. All 600 of them have gone back immediately. Lance was talking about this in this other podcast that I was telling you about earlier. He says it just needs the will, the political will, and it will happen. But we haven't got that. So I want Trump's vision of how society should work. What about you? Let me take some of your comments now, and then I'll go on with my little tirade. 21 likes. That's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. If you want to restream it, do that as well for me. Don't forget, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and on, what's the other one? YouTube. And don't forget, if you really want to help, why don't you subscribe to John Gaunt TV, right? John Gaunt TV. That's my channel on YouTube. It doesn't cost a penny. We've had quite a few of you sign up over the last day or 2. What it means is when I do extra ones, or even like tonight, if you've clicked the subscribe button and the bell, you will get a notification every time I go live. So you won't miss out. And that's how we build the numbers. Doesn't cost a penny. Not 1 penny. Evening, John. I'd take J.D. Vance over Starmer as he's the next president of the USA. So why not become the leader of the UK? I love J.D. Vance. People slagged him off like mad. I'd read his book. I've seen the film. He's a truly working class guy. He's a hillbilly. That's where he comes from. sort of Walton's country. Poor, poorer than any of us, probably. And he's built himself up into being the vice president of the second greatest country in the world. 'Cause I still think we're the greatest, although we've lost a bit of it so far, haven't we? Jackie Ward says the UK is the laughing stock of the world. Starmer is out of his depth. Yeah, what a pity he doesn't drown. And he's dragging the UK into the abyss. It'd be laughable if it wasn't so serious. Jackie, brilliant words. Can't argue with you. You're absolutely right. But it's got another 4 years to completely destroy the country. In a minute, I'll talk about the economy. You know, he keeps bragging about, oh, yeah, we've increased the minimum wage. He hasn't. Employers have had to do it. And it's crippling industries, particularly hospitality. I talked about this with Lance Foreman because I tell you, Lance is an interesting guy. He's an immigrant, third generation. I think they came from Russia. He's Jewish, and they smoke fish, salmon and stuff. Not smoke it, smoke salmon. He's got the biggest plant in the country. He supplies all the top restaurants, your Gordon Ramsays and all the rest of them, Harrods. Foreman Fish, it's called. If you can afford it, buy some. It's absolutely brilliant. I met him just before the London Olympics because he had a factory where they wanted to build the stadium and he was having a few problems. So anyway, I met him and gave him some advice. So I've known him all this time. He ended up as a Brexit Party MEP. He fell out with Farage and he talks about that in this podcast. It's really, really illuminating. But he said, if you want the economy to work, you got to cut taxes. Cutting taxes means that ordinary people have more money, means that businesses can then create more money, and it's profit that makes the world go round. But you know, like when you listen to the BBC, he didn't have a good word for the BBC. They think the P word is as bad as the see you next Tuesday word. They hate profit and the idea that people are making money. And so does Starmer. Because if you look at most of his front bench, they're all public servants. If they've had a job, none of them have created wealth, so they don't understand it. And Lance was telling me, and Trump had echoed this a few days earlier, that if you tax more, then the tax take, the actual money you get, reduces because people just come up with perfectly legal ways of not paying the full amount. It doesn't work. Or really talented people leave. Anybody remember in the Beatles? They left. Even Duran Duran left. It's madness. John, the only thing Starmer is good at is smashing records, says Craig. Thank you, Craig. Dark Angel says, we're going to run out of money if someone doesn't get a backbone and do something about it. Correct. How can we keep on paying all these people who are coming in illegally? Answer, we can't. All these people who've got the new backache, depression, we can't. I'm not saying real depression doesn't exist. It does, of course. But we can't have this many people who can't work. Oh, I'm a bit down. I'm a bit down every bloody morning when I hear Starmer. Mark Nesbitt, 100%, mate. Thank you, my friend. That's on YouTube's TV Steve Harris. He just says, revolution. I'm not sure I'm necessarily saying that, and especially not with these new laws. I could end up in the nick. What did you make of the Manchester thing? One of them's been found guilty of 3 counts, but not another one. Now the Crown Prosecution Service is saying, we want a retrial. So it's going to drag on and on and on. I don't want to prejudice the trial, but the video evidence was pretty clear to me. But maybe I haven't got it right. Dark Angel, I wish someone would stop the influx. Seems like we're getting all the bad ones. Well, again, we don't know because we don't know who they are. Private Josie, B32. So true, mate. Starmer needs to be in jail or send him off to El Salvador. Yeah, he could go and tell us what it's like. That's not a bad idea. Right, let's get back to Trump's vision and what Trump was saying. So securing our borders, because without secure borders, you're not a country, which is exactly what the EU wanted. They wanted us just to be a region of Europe. And what's really annoying me about Starmer, He's getting us in by the back door. Now then, when people say to you, yeah, what's been the benefit of Brexit? Well, all you've got to do is say, have a look at Angela van Leyen, right? She got a deal with Trump yesterday, but they're paying more than us. They've got a shit deal. He had her over, pardon the expression. Yeah, it's just mad. That's a benefit of Brexit. And again, we'll talk to Lance about this. We didn't really get the Brexit we voted for because people like Theresa May, well, starting with David Cameron, he said, have a vote. And I promise you, whatever the decision of the people is, that's what we'll do. And I'll stick by it. He was on the let's stay in because he thought that would win because that's what the BBC and all his other chums in the chumocracy were telling him. Ha ha ha. We, the British people, said, up yours, we want out. And then what did he do? He deserted his position. Do you remember when he was almost crying outside Downing Street? He was betraying us. He's a traitor. He's a traitor. And then we had a succession of idiots in charge, ending up with the lettuce, of course, who didn't give us what we wanted. Even Boris was hedging his bets. The British people voted to get out, and we have been betrayed. So we never got a Brexit. So now those same people are saying, oh, I told you it wouldn't work. What about the sunny uplands? Well, we haven't had a chance to see if it can work. And now we've got a prime minister who's trying to get us back in by the back door. He loves coming in the back door, so I understand. He's devious. He's devious. And it's bloody annoying. He should be delivering what the British people have told him to do. We pay his wages. Now, the other thing about Starmer, law and order. The man who failed, I don't care whether he says it never came, nothing came over his desk. According to him, when he was, what did he keep saying? So 5 years, I was the chief prosecutor for England and Wales. Well, you didn't do much of a good job, did you twat? Because Jimmy Savile, shall we just mention him again? Your mate Peter liked to bring him up yesterday, didn't he? Accusing Nigel Farage of being a supporter. Huh. We want zero tolerance. Law and order. We want zero tolerance. We want people to understand the law of the land and then observe it. And I don't care whether that's because they were born in Zimbabwe or in some other place or born and bred in this country. People must obey the law, and the law must be clear, and there must be no two-tier justice. And police must police. They must be hard. But it looks like one of the Manchester coppers, the one who stood on his head or kicked him in the head, looks like he now might get prosecuted, even though they said he wouldn't before. What message does this send out? What message does it send out when they all dance in a rainbow lineup on Pride? If you want to be gay, that's fine. And it shouldn't be a reason why you can't be a copper. But you shouldn't be flaunting it on Pride. Just like those coppers, those top coppers who took the knee for Black Lives Matter. Then it turns out Black Lives Matter was basically a gangster organisation. Starmer, Angela Rayner, all will take the knee. We're so bloody right on. Look after the people who pay your wages. It's not too difficult. And of course, that is what Donald Trump is delivering in the United States of America. And it's what we need here. Tough leadership. MAGA, make America great again. We've got to have the same attitude. We've got to have the same attitude. Haven't we? Or am I just ranting to myself? Michael Jones, all of these limp-wristed politicians, with the exception of the Reform Party, support the windmill farms because they've all got shares in them. Well, I don't know about that, but they certainly all support them. You are correct. Lisa Carville says, instead of looking at the immigrants coming in, look at how many lose their case to stay but are still here years later after numerous appeals. All paid for by us. You're right, Lisa. Once you've got onto the beach at Dover, you ain't going back, basically. I know people who work in this field, on this beach. You're in, you're safe. And that's what they're told. And that is why we've got to be tougher from the word go. If we could secure our beaches with Captain Mainwaring and Corporal Jones, I'm taking a mickey now, but with old geezers in the Second World War. And Hitler never actually managed to invade, did he? Why can't we do it now? Just tell me that. And if our MI5, MFI, DFS, whatever it's called, secret services are so good, how come they can't locate the people smugglers, give them a kick in, and at the same time wreck all their boats? If Patrick Christie's, the guy who's on GB News at night time, can find them, why can't our spooks? It makes no sense to me. Whilst the French Navy is escorting these boats to the English line in the Channel, this invasion will never stop. So we, our Royal Navy in the Channel, need to be there to turn them round, and the Royal Marines on the beach to detain them. Yeah, and we should detain the bloody French if that's what they're doing. I'm with you. I'm with you totally about this. Dark Angel Love, look, you're putting too many comments up, and that stops other people getting on. So try and be fair. Try and be fair, right? Because if you just keep blocking it, other people can't get through. Maggie Young says, nobody listening to our British people. It's exhausting. You're absolutely correct, Maggie, on Facebook. 29 likes, but nobody's made a donation. Come on, why don't you join the Roll of Honour? Bruce, John Roberts, Angela DeMarco, Graham Bagley, and John Godley. They've all contributed something. Dark Angel says, I'm sorry. You don't need to be sorry. It's just, I know you get carried away, you get excited, but I'm trying to get as many people to be able to express their opinion as possible. Right, back to my little rant. Where was I up to where we're going wrong? So you've got to cut taxes. If you cut taxes, you've got more money in your pocket, people will go out and spend. It's just obvious. If you put the NI up like they did, you get a situation where my mate Rick said this, didn't he, from Nailcott Hall as well. People reduce the amount of people they're employing. Therefore, the quality of what you're giving isn't as good. Therefore, less people go out. I had a guy who came on and said, oh, yeah, well, when that Eat Out to Help Out was out on, I went and it was rubbish and the service was this and da-da-da. Not seeing the bigger picture. Galvin, I think his name is, this bloke. You've got to see the bigger picture. And what we've got to do is get young people in those jobs and get them going. Cut the taxes. Let it stimulate the growth. How many more pubs do you want to close a day? Because, of course, again, Starmer and his ilk don't want us going to the pub. They don't want us talking. They don't want us congregating. They don't want us organising. It's all part of the plan. And then the next bit, as Donald would say, Donald Trump, frack, baby, frack. We need energy independence. At the moment, we are relying on Russia and Germany and France. I wouldn't let any foreign company own our water, own our gas, or own our oil. That's what the French did and the Germans. But now it's French and Germans who run our electricity, our lecky and the gas. It's ludicrous. We've given away our country, or they've given it away. And likewise, if there's coal and if there's shale gas there, why aren't we taking it? Yes, we all want Greta to be a saint. We all want to save the planet. I'm with you. But I also want to exist and live in the here and now. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. And why aren't we getting some politicians who will say that? Do you follow me? Going to finish in a minute. So if you're trying to get on, now's your opportunity. Give me your opinion. And then finally, what we need from our leader, from that man, we need consistency. We need to be told this is where we're going, and we need clarity. And we need all of his ministers, who mostly are useless, to be on the same page. But likewise, you cannot have a Chancellor of the Exchequer who cries and falsifies her CV. Let's get somebody from business who understands what needs to happen. And I think all of those things is what, and the blob, of course, the whole idea of the civil service, there's too many of them and they're too lazy and they don't work hard enough and they haven't worked in the real world and they know they're going to get a big fat pension or regardless. It's just nonsense. So you've got to do what Trump's did. You've got to take a chainsaw, metaphorically, to the whole public service arena. And what we've also got to do is put Britain first and British people first. But that doesn't mean we're racist. We've got to stop allowing people to beat us up as if somehow we're a terrible country. We're not. We're bloody brilliant. Do you agree or do you disagree? Love to get your opinion because I'm going to finish any minute now. Superb amount of likes again tonight, 29. Thank you very much indeed. I'm back tomorrow at 6:30 for the live show, so make sure you join in then. But I'm doing Ben Habib. Now, whether I'm going to put that up straight away, I don't know. I put the one up today with Lance because it was very much on the news agenda because of Starmer and this ridiculous thing he's done with the hostages. I don't want my country giving in to terrorism either. I just don't want it. I do feel if kids are dying there, we don't know how true that is. And also, we can't believe the BBC anymore. I think that's terrible that I keep saying that. But when I first worked for the BBC, I was dead chuffed. I never actually physically worked for them. I was always a freelancer. But when I started on BBC Coventry and Warwickshire, I thought we were doing some good. I think we were. And in BBC Luton. But look at it now. Just look at it. Stuffed full of left-wing uber liberals. I've still got some great mates who work for them, but you try and talk to them. It's like talking to a brick wall. It's all left-wing, la-di-da Gunnar Graham kind of attitude. And they're so superior. And none of them could do what I'm doing. Getting off my arse and trying to create a business. Oh, excuse me. Myself. Most of them can't even do radio presenting correctly. Don't know how to turn the conversation, get people conversing. And then I can't get a job in the mainstream. Mind you, I haven't applied. Don't tell Lisa. I haven't applied for any, I've got to say, but I wouldn't even know where to start. Because before I've just done my gig and then people have offered me stupid amounts of money to do it elsewhere and I've gone. But that doesn't happen anymore. Oh, he's not controllable. I don't ever want to be controlled. Starmer's a sub. That's the problem. I don't know what that means. I'm proud British and we need to fight back. Polite protest is being ignored, says Lauren on YouTube. Well, I agree with that. I agree with that last part. I don't know what the first part means, but I do agree with the last part. It's common sense to give more money to the people by cutting tax and other things. However, this lying, traitorous government want to take. This is JJ Jones on Facebook. They give nothing back. They help no one but themselves. That's very true. Trump was spot on. He thinks about the people, not how much he can rake in. Well, he is a billionaire, so I suppose it helps. But Starmer and co are nothing but a bunch of greedy, self-serving leeches who need to go. Can't argue. Thank you very much indeed. And then Maggie, she's finished the day by asking, whatever happened to your mate Charlie? Laugh out loud. Oh, Charlie used to help me, didn't he? During the COVID years. I don't know. I think we had a row and I locked him in the basement. Oh, shit. I never took him back out. No, he's all right. He's all right. He might make a guest appearance soon. I was talking to him the other day, although I phoned him 4 times this week and he's not returned my calls. He's probably like another one. I give him a break and then bang, they're away. And then I ring him up saying, got any work? And it's like, there's a Mr. Gaunt on the phone for you. Says their 15th secretary in a row. And he's like, damn, I'm not here. Something like that. Something like that. Anyway, listen, I've had a great show. I've really enjoyed it. Lisa's cooking tonight, so I got a night off. I've worked hard today, though, doing 2 shows. I tell you, it takes it out of you, especially the interview shows, because you got to kind of be a bit more on the ball with it, you know? And but I'm really proud of them. I've done Kevin Foster, ex-MP. I did Rick from Nailcut Hall talking about hospitality. I've done Howard Cox talking about, well, all kind of things, fuel, cars, transport, Sadiq Khan. Oh, by the way, you've got to listen to what the guy today, Lance Foreman, says about Sadiq Khan. He says Trump was bang on the money. He has wrecked London, completely wrecked it. He is a nasty person. So that was good. So that's a good piece. And who else have I interviewed? Oh, Kevin, the ex-copper, the ex-commander of West London. What a great guest list. And it's only the first or the second week. Then Ben Habib tomorrow. Oh, and I've got some good people for next week as well. You know what I've been amazed about? I send them a text because I'm a bit, you won't believe this, I'm a bit intimidated because I haven't been around for so long. So I send them a text saying, would you mind? Would you like? Have you got the time? And every one of them, almost immediately, I hear bing, and it's them. Hello, Gaunty, how are you? Da-da-da, on text. And I said, yeah, I'm fine. I've been very ill, but I'm all right now. And they've all been so gracious and say, like Lance today, I sent him one this morning, just on the off chance because of this nonsense that happened yesterday, where basically Starmer gave up and gave victory to the terrorists. You know, just terrible. So I thought, oh, you might come on. But he ding, yeah, here I am. Can you do? I said, when can you do it? He said, what's best for you? I said, well, maybe later today. He said, how about noon? So before I know it, I was doing him, if you pardon the expression. Brilliant. So it's great. And it's great that you obviously are valuing it. And that's why I know I asked for the donations, but we need it to expand and move it forward. And I want to thank every single one of you. I also want to thank all the people who listen, but don't necessarily contribute, maybe because they can't afford it. You just tell other people. You spread it after the show. Spread the link to other people. And it's particularly with these interviews, have a listen to them. You won't hear anything like it on any radio station in Britain. You just won't. So have a listen. It's the radio revolution on the computer and on your Moby. Jackie Ward, there she is. She's always there. Give me 3 red hearts. And Maggie Young's giving me the clap and the blue heart today. Thank you very much indeed. Right, I'm off. I'll see you tomorrow then, definitely at 6:30. I'll probably put up the Ben Habib one in the day, depending on what he says. If not, I'll put that up on Friday, but I'll get it in the can tomorrow. Thank you for helping me make these podcasts successful, because I never knew whether they would be, but I think we can say they are. 32 likes. That's brilliant. Make sure you listen to the one with Lance that I did this afternoon. You will find it fascinating. Even if you listen to the audio one when you're walking the dog or driving to work tomorrow, you will find it really interesting. And it's very interesting hearing a Jewish person's experience. He talks about how these left-wingers use words like the genocide. You know, the genocide, I'm afraid, was the killing of 6 million Jews, you idiots. But they like to appropriate that word, don't they? And when he talks about it, and he talks about how Jewish people didn't quite see what was coming, yeah, in Nazi Germany, and then the fact that so many people now are leaving Britain, I think that's of concern to me. And I think it should be to you. So it's very moving. Have a listen. All right, that's me done. If you got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.